How could they morally assault southern Gaza after they forced people and encouraged them by all their leaflets to leave northern Gaza and go down there? It's almost like shooting fish in a barrel if they do that. Or is my question absurd because there is no morality here? There are no moral standards.
Well, I wouldn't say your question is absurd, but I think that you gave the answer. You can't make a moral case for this. Look, what the Israelis have done is they basically turned Gaza into a free fire zone. You and I are old enough to remember the Vietnam War, right? And we would turn certain areas of Vietnam into free fire zones. And anything that moved in those zones was liable or likely to be killed. And in a very important way, that's what the Israelis have been doing in Gaza. They've been going after hospitals. They've been going after ambulances. They've been going after UN institutions. They've been going after schools. And they, of course, justify this because they argue that Hamas fights from those places. Right. Hamas is everywhere. And if you buy that argument, then you can make the case that you should just destroy the whole place. Treat it like a free fire.
Is that the end game? To destroy Gaza and slaughter 2 million human beings?
Well, I don't think they're going to slaughter 2 million human beings. My view is that what the Israelis wanted to do in an ideal world was ethnically cleanse Gaza. And in the very beginning, it looked like they may get away with that because it looked like the United States was playing along. But what's happened since then is that not only the United States, but various Arab countries and the Palestinians themselves have made it unequivocally clear that this is not happening. We're not having a second Nakba. The Palestinians are not going to be cleansed in Gaza. So the question is, what's the fallback position? And there are two things you can do, and this is what I was alluding to before. One is you can punish the civilian population. You can bomb the civilian population and inflict massive punishment on them. And you can go after Hamas and root out Hamas and finish it off. My argument is the Israelis are not going to do the latter. They're not going to go after Hamas in any meaningful way. They're not going to defeat Hamas. And therefore, they're forced to bomb.
Well, what is their goal then if they're not going to defeat Hamas? I mean, Prime Minister Netanyahu has said that's their goal. This crazy security minister, Ben-Gvir, has said that that's their goal.
They have no winning goal. That's the problem. The Israelis are in deep trouble, and we're in deep trouble as well. There's no magic formula here. And by the way, we haven't even talked about what you do in Gaza after the war is over with. Let's say they go in and deliver a hammer blow to Hamas. Hamas is basically crippled to the point where it can't cause much trouble for a good year or two. Let's say that happens. I'm wrong. Right. Then the question is, what are you going to do to make Gaza work? And, people talk about, let's bring in the international community. Nobody in the international community wants any part of that. The Americans don't want to go in there. And really, do the Israelis want to stay there and run the place? I doubt it. We talk about bringing Mahmoud Abbas in. He, of course, is on the West Bank. And Mahmoud Abbas has zero credibility among the Palestinian population. He's an ancient. He's in his late 80s. The idea that he's the solution is laughable, right? So what are the Israelis going to do once this is over with? I certainly don't have a good answer. And I have talked to a good number of people and asked them this very question. And I've not found anybody, including Israeli supporters, who have a good answer.
What is Joe Biden going to do, Professor Meirsheimer? What has this done to his presidency, to the dilemma that he's gotten himself in between, oh, we're wedded at the hip with Israel. Oh, we're in favor of the two-state solution. Oh, we're not in favor of slaughtering innocents. How can he get out of this?
That's a very interesting question. I mean, there's no doubt that Joe Biden is feeling the heat from inside his administration, from inside the White House, inside the State Department, inside USAID. People in his administration are profoundly upset about the killing of Palestinian civilians, and they're putting pressure on him to do something about it. He also understands this has huge consequences for his election next November, because in swing states like Michigan, you have large Arab American communities. And if they're positively hostile toward you, you're likely to lose that swing state and maybe others. So what's happening here is that Biden has a growing incentive to crack down on the Israelis.